Alright, I just got back from class not too long ago, and got some crap to do, so I'm gonna try to make this video super fast. Recently, I was looking at, what was I watching? I was on YouTube watching clips from old Judge Judy episodes. I love Judge Judy, so yeah. And, you know, they show you related links to the side, and one of the links was titled, I believe it was Child Support is Killing Our Fathers, and the title really stuck out to me, so I clicked on it, and I watched the video, and it's basically saying that the child support enforcement, they're making the payments too high, that the fathers are not able to live on what they're left with, and it's very stressful, and it's causing a large number of fathers to commit suicide. And you know, something needs to be done about the system. And I posted the link on my Facebook account, and I got a couple personal messages, and I got a couple comments posted on the actual video. And what surprised me was that, which I just posted it like 4 o'clock this morning, and it's just afternoon now, so I mean, I haven't gotten a whole bunch of comments, but the comments that I have gotten, the majority of them were kind of agreeing with the video, which I thought was really strange, because originally when I saw the video, I thought it was nuts. Like, they made it out to be like it was so sad, such a travesty, like one of those Save the Children commercials, like one of those Adopt a Pet commercials, as though it's just this devastating thing, and reach out and help someone type deal. And I thought it was really retarded. For those of you that don't know, I personally am kind of hard on single mothers. I have a lot of respect for single mothers, but I don't give them any pity. Or, I take that back, widows. My heart really, really goes out to widows. But for women that are just, they didn't want to make things work within their relationship, and they just decided to get a divorce, and for women that are just sleeping with different guys and having unprotected sex and, you know, popping out kids, like, I have a respect for them in the sense that they're taking care of business and they're providing for their children, but in the same token, it's kind of like, you know, you can't really complain because it's something you did. It's like dudes who sell drugs or dudes who get involved in gang activities, and then their family goes crazy, and they go nuts and get upset when the judge gives them what they feel is excessive time. I mean, it's whether you feel like it's fair or not, it's a direct consequence of your actions, so you can't really be upset about it. So with that being said, I feel like, which there are some single fathers, but the vast majority of single parents are mothers, and it's hard enough to not have that support, that live-in father where I can wake up and see him there, where we can lay in bed at night and discuss what Timmy did at school today, and having Timmy wake up and see Dad reading the paper in the morning, and they have that time over breakfast. It's a lot of people, or at least a lot of people that I interact with, they come from single parent homes, so they don't understand the difference it makes when you have two parents. Okay? All of my cousins, all of them, come from single parent homes, most of which were run by drugs. And I come from a two-parent household where they were married before they had any of their children. And it's a difference. It's a difference in the way that the children are raised. It's a difference in the way that the children interact with their parents. And it shows. So anyway, I'm getting all off topic. The point of the matter is, when you have two parents in the same household, it just makes things easier. It makes things, it's more of an ideal situation for family. that doesn't mean that the kids are better or that they're going to be more successful. It gives them a better chance. You know what I mean? Aside from that, when you have two parents, two incomes, or even one, but more than likely two incomes, living in the same household, well, guess what? Both of those incomes are going to one mortgage or one rent, one set of utilities, and then the excess, surplus of whatever money is left over after whatever debt you've accumulated for the month goes towards the kid. You know what I mean? And it's different when mom is paying her rent, and she's paying her car note, and she's paying her insurance, and she's trying to get the kids on her health care and her job, and dad is paying his mortgage over here, and he's spending money on the new girlfriend, and he's paying for his car and his insurance, and then the surplus of those two separate lifestyles coming together, well, there's a lot less left there for the child, okay? And as the parent, whether it's the mother or the father, whatever parent does not have the child, whatever expenses you feel like you have, they're tripled when you think about whatever the parent that has a child, whatever they have to pay, whatever they have to deal with. And my problem that I have with child support in general is that it has to be enforced. I hate the idea that there are men/women out there who feel like they don't have to, and I hate to say that they wouldn't pay, but they wouldn't, because for you to get upset about having to pay it each month or each week, however yours is structured, that means otherwise you wouldn't do it because you don't feel like you should have to. You feel like it's too much. And I know guys that pay $100 a month for a child and they feel like it's too much. Seriously, do you know how much diapers cost? Do you know how much formula costs? You can make one trip to the grocery store and spend more than $100, and that's not going to last you a month. Okay, so $100 a month is nothing. And generally speaking, unless you're some kind of friggin', unless you're freaking rich, because their tier system, however that works, I'm sure is on a different scale. But for the average Joe, it's based on how much you make and how many children you have. You're not gonna make $800 a month and they're taking $600. It's based on how many other children you have, and it's also based on your income. They're not just pulling these figures out of nowhere. They're leaving you with enough to live with. And the problem that I have with the same guys that are saying their payments are too much, those same dudes are at the club on the weekend paying $30 to get in, paying $20 a glass for a drink. Seriously? But $300 a month is just ridiculous. It's just too much. And they feel like, well, I make $200 a month, so you're leaving me $900 to live with, and it seems like a huge amount of money, but not when you break it down and consider $5 a day for the kid to go to lunch. You know, when the field trips come up, you know, especially if you have more than one child, well, it's $20 for them to be able to go to the field trip. When they get there, they have to have money to eat. You know what I mean? Expenses constantly add up when you're talking about children. Okay, and aside from that, hello? Rent, utilities, that's a part of taking care of your child, okay? And people feel like they don't want to give dollars to a mother because they feel like she won't spend it properly. They rather give her diapers and they rather go out and purchase the things. First of all, that's your problem, okay? You chose the person that you decided to have your child with. If you chose a person that's not responsible, I mean, that's on you. And here's my thing, which I have seen happen before. If you have a female who is dressed head to toe in whatever her brand is that she likes, and she's got $50 acrylic nails on and $200 worth of Remy in her head, and your kids' shoes are running over, and their lights are getting shut off, you know, and the rent is past due, that's one thing. But if she's already used her paycheck to care for your child, and the bills are paid, then whatever $100, $200 that you're giving her, then she has the right to spend that on herself. When you step outside the home, when you're living separate from them, then you forfeited all rights to control what happens in that home. That's how I feel about it. And so whatever money that you give, it's added to the pot that she has to provide for the child. And I don't want to get into too much detail because it really annoys me. It really bothers me because I feel like you want to do any and everything you can to provide the best lifestyle that you can for your children. Okay, I'm going into the education field. Okay, I'm doing these field hours. Okay, and I go to class. I've been to school with kids that you can tell that they don't have the things that they need to have. And even if you spend the weekend with their kids, even if you take them shopping, it's not the same thing as you being in the home with them. It's not the same. The love that they feel is not the same. That sense of attachment, that bond is not the same. And you can convince yourself that, oh, I'm a good dad, or oh, I'm a good mom, and no one's saying that you're not. What I'm saying is that when you're not together, living in the same household as a family, you're already putting the children at a disadvantage. You're already giving them less than another child has. So why not make up for that as much as you can monetarily? That's all I'm saying. And one comment that the dude made was like, the system is so flawed, and that, you know, he's heard guys that sell drugs, like, you know, because their money's under the table, they can't be touched as far as child support goes, and and they're laughing about it, and it's not fair. That's like me working hard, putting myself through school, being jealous of a stripper because she has more money to spend. Because she's not struggling the way that I am. That's stupid. Why would you even compare yourself or compare your situation to someone who, I don't want to go as far as to say is beneath you, but someone who's not trying to do the right thing? That's what child support is about. Child support is saying you're not going to do the right thing on your own, so the court's going to make you do the right thing. That's what it is. If you get yourself in a situation where you both were married, you tried to make this thing work, it didn't work out, you had to split, and you're two mature people, and the two of you can decide, hey, I get paid the 15th and the 30th, I'll give you $200 this time, but next time I'm only going to have $100. Talk it out. And if you're two mature people and you still have love for each other, not necessarily in love with each other, and you can get along for the sake of the child, then do that. But most people, they can't. They don't give themselves enough time to choose the right partner to have their child with, and so they can't get along, and they have to be put on child support because they're not going to give the right amount of money, or they feel like the mother will manipulate them and try to get as much money as they can, so they have to go through the court system. The court system, which if I had to be a single mother, I undoubtedly would go through the court system, and if I was going to be a father, I would definitely get the baby tested. I mean, in these days, I mean, that's just how you do. But neither here nor there. I just feel like even as much as you love your child, there's a different feeling, there's a different idea about relationships and what they can be, and about your place in the world when you know that your mother loves your father and that your father loves your mother. You don't want to think about your parents hate each other, that they can't stand to be around each other, that they can't be in the room at the same time, that your grandma has to pick you up and take you to another place because they can't even look at each other right. You know what I mean? And I have to think about, oh, my daddy's getting a new girlfriend, or my mom is... It's a lot of extra stuff for a kid to deal with, and some kids are more mature than others, but, I mean, just knowing that your parents love each other and that they love you, it's a beautiful thing. And for those children that don't get the opportunity to experience that and to get that model of what a family should be, traditionally, what it's supposed to be, make up for it in any way that you can. And that's not to say that money can buy that type of contentment, but it certainly eases other voids. You know, it closes some of those other voids, and I feel like that's a challenge that any father, any mother should be willing to tackle. And so while, sure, the court system has many flaws, just like our judicial system, just like any system, because as we all know, nothing is perfect, it definitely beats the alternative, which is a lot of fathers giving little to no support. And I think you providing what you feel is more than enough for your child is a much better option than your child not getting enough. Think of it that way.